75 retired U.S. generals and admirals have signed an open letter expressing support for Operation Epic Fury, which is entering its 7th day. The letter, which was published by the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, calls the coordinated strikes vital to degrade and eliminate the regime's arsenals. Meanwhile, there are concerns about whether there are enough munitions amid these worries that the war with Iran could diminish U.S. stockpiles. Leaders of the defense sector are meeting with President Trump at this hour at the White House, and they are talking about the ongoing conflict and how to make sure there are enough weapons. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, RTX, since the Operation Fury began on February 28th, are all moving higher, with Northrop Grumman in the lead, up 4.25%, Lockheed up 1.5%, RTX up 3.25%. But joining me now is one of the 75 retired military leaders who signed this letter, retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former deputy commander for Central Command, who went on to run Lockheed Martin's Middle East business for 8 years. Great to have you, sir. Really appreciate it. Can you give me a sense of what you most wanted to impart in this letter?
Well, I think everybody understands how strategic this is, how important it is to see this through to the end. And as you just noted, you can see Russian support. So this is not only just about Iran, but the region and influence of others in Iran. So I think that letter is a testament to the strategic significance of how this conflict is.
You have a personal attachment here because you actually grew up in Iran. What does it feel like at the moment? Because as we see the missiles, we see the planes taking off, we see the bombings, we see the interceptions of all of these drones that are now hitting a lot of different countries that supposedly were either neutral or kind of leaning toward Iran at certain points. What goes through your mind?
I think myself, everyone who's lived in Iran, the Iranian people, I think what's first and foremost in their mind, this is long overdue. This regime has to be held accountable for the attacks they've had on Americans, on their own people, on their partners and neighbors in the region. So I think everyone says this is long overdue and needed to be done.
It is a little, I don't know, confusing. Listen, America, you can feel and say whatever you want. That's the beauty of this country. But when you hear that some of the members of Congress come out and say this is illegal, I understand that they want to be part of a decision, and it's very important to follow the Constitution. But what are we going to do? Wait around till Iran actually did something and we had another, God forbid, 9/11?
Well, I think you're exactly right. It's not do it again. They've been doing it consistently all that time. But let's put this into perspective. Since '79, Iran has been developing a nuclear weapons program. There's no doubt about it. And all our actions over 47 years did nothing to dissipate that. It slowed it down a little bit. But now they brought on more centrifuges, higher centrifuge. They could take enriched uranium and make it weapons-grade uranium enough for several bombs in a couple of weeks because of numbers of cascades they had built out, the number of higher speed and more capable cascades. So that was just one issue in itself. Then the fact that they've only been expanding their missile capabilities, their accuracy, their launchers, and all parts of that over 47 years unabated and then finally, how they've been attacking the region, their partners and all. So if that was not dealt with at some point, it's going to be past the tipping point where you can't affect it. So thank God action was taken now to prevent that tipping point where you're not able to act.
Admiral, part of the issue here, and it actually is the number one question, how long, and certainly this is what Americans want to know, how long might this campaign last? President Trump is sounding very intransigent on this. In fact, it's almost like he's taking a page out of Ulysses S. Grant, who was known as Unconditional Surrender Grant. President Trump put out a Truth Social post demanding unconditional surrender from the Iranians. And in essence, on the post, he said there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. He goes on to say that once there is a selection of a, quote, great and acceptable leader, then we can make Iran great again. But the clock is ticking. At first, he had said 4 weeks. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, came out, I believe, man, the days are running into each other, Wednesday, saying it would be 8 weeks. And yesterday, President Trump did not want to give a timeline anymore to Reuters during an interview. From what you know and your expertise, we see a slowdown in the number of missiles and the number of drones that Iran is sending across the region. Does that mean that this is going to peter out relatively soon?
Without a doubt. And when there are no missiles and they cannot project power, this thing's going to be over quickly thereafter. So again, we're into 1 week. The big machine, the Department of War is now in full execution. When you transition from a policy to a strategy, then execute the plan, it takes a little time to get that in place. They're in full operational mode now. They've validated all their risks and concerns. So I think this ability, and you'll know when the tipping point comes, when there are no missiles from Iran flying. At that point, it will be a matter of days. But timing is somewhat irrelevant there, because if there's no threat, we can take our time to ensure there's a due government in place. And I would tell you, the president made it very clear he's going to have a voice in that. I think that's right. But I think the Iranian people will have a voice in that as well.
Wouldn't that be nice? That sure would be wonderful. The Iranian people, and I know so many of them, they're educated. They're so intelligent. And they've been held underneath the thumb of this ridiculous regime that is violent and doesn't allow women to be doctors like they used to, lawyers. You knew Iran when it was much, much better.
They're smart, educated, wonderful culture. But I think the point that most Iranians are thinking now about that future, how soon can it come and what it's going to be like. And I do believe with the resources they have, the population, this country is going to prosper as soon as it can be yielded from the regime that's held them hostage for 49 years. So again, this is long overdue, and the potential is just spectacular.
You work with a company that we have covered, Shield AI, which makes autonomous drones. A lot of drone technology flying through the skies. Does it surprise you that Iran's Shahed drones are so plentiful that they've been able to churn so many of these out?
Well, again, I don't have the intelligence to know the numbers, but I got to believe that was in the estimate, and they're looking at. But you hit the most important aspect of this, I believe. If you look at the evolution of drone warfare, you look at what we did in Afghanistan and Iraq, where we put billions of dollars to use drones as ISR assets, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. In the Ukraine war, it shifted to kinetic, one-way loitering, FPV, kinetic drones. And now you're seeing the masses of drones. So I think this is indicative of what we're doing in our company, building drones that have long range. I'm talking 3,000 miles, heavy lift to carry all the ordnance, and can function at strike platforms, so accomplishing what NAVCENT is doing now without putting pilots at risk. And the scale can become unprecedented. So you can watch and see anything you want to strike almost real time. And that would have changed the dynamics almost instantly here in Iran.
Admiral, to be able to see things through your eyes is very, very valuable to us. So thank you for coming on the show.